everybody, I'm Jessica Benavides.
I'm Sam Baker.
We have a very special guest on today. We are talking with Megan Tomlinson, one of two female drivers in the Sports Car Championship Canada this year. She's racing in the TCA class in a Honda Civic Si FE1. Megan is 23 years old. She's from Ottawa, Ontario, has 4 years of racing experience. Last year, racing in the Super Production Challenge. She also was a top contestant from North America to compete in Formula Women in the United Kingdom. Please welcome Megan Tomlinson. First of all, what did you get up to in the off season this year?
Honestly, I've just been working a lot. I went down to a race in Alabama at Barber with World Racing League. I did the 2-day enduro, which was awesome. And then just some sim training.
Cool. Did you go down there with TWOth?
Yeah.
And then were you driving the TCA car?
Yeah. First time on track in the TCA. So that was super awesome. It's definitely not meant for enduros or running on like road tires because it definitely needs the slicks for the rotation. But
it looked like you guys had some rain down there too.
It wasn't bad. Like we didn't get out much in the wet because it was lightning and there was like a tornado warning. So I got out for like 30 minutes.
We know a few things about tornadoes here.
Yeah. I was like, this is not how we're starting the season again, please.
So tell us a little bit about racing down there at Barber.
It was super awesome. You know, what was honestly great is there was Shift Up Now is there. And there was like 4 other females or more racing.
Can you tell me what Shift Up Now is?
Yeah, they just like basically fundraise and sponsor female racers.
How do you find the track? I know Barber's got some tricky sections like that kink chicane going into the tight right-hander on the straightaway.
Like the one that goes down?
It's like downhill and you got to avoid the curbs and then hard turn.
Yeah, so actually
you're braking the whole way through.
In the TCA, you didn't need to avoid the curbs. If it's like 7-8, the one I think you're talking about. I actually got rear-ended super, like someone passed me under yellow beside the tow truck. And then I passed them like as we went up to that corner. And then they gave me like the lightest tap when I was turning under braking there. And it just gave me a little spin. And I was like, oh my God, I'm on the inside of a blind corner. I need to get out of here right now.
Oh God. And that was under yellow flag?
The pass was under yellow. This wasn't.
So wait, they passed you under yellow, and then you passed them back also under yellow?
No, after.
Oh, okay.
She was racing. So what do you do to practice or train at home during the off season? Do you do any sim or any fitness, or do you like to more so just get out in the car and go south?
Yeah, so I'm doing some sim. I'm trying to get on it with my coach like once a week. But I find it's like most valuable for learning new tracks. So there's only so far you can go when I'm practicing at like Calabugie, which I have a lot of time on track at. And then I kind of just try to get down to the States and do as much as I can, which is hard because it comes with a high cost, right?
Mm-hmm. Before GP3R last year, did you do a lot of sim work with that track? Yeah. Me too. It helped a lot.
Yeah. I didn't know you had a coach until you just mentioned it. Do you think that they put more emphasis on you training physically, like strength training, doing workouts, to like cater towards motorsport and getting stronger, or are they more focused on, gaining mental strength, getting mentally strong and just learning how to, get yourself in the zone before a race and all of that stuff, or are they kind of hand in hand?
They definitely go hand in hand, but I'd say our focus is on mental training. They don't really play a part in my physical training. That's something I do externally.
And do you think it like has much significance to how you perform right now, or?
I think it definitely makes a huge difference. One of the things I really need to work on is I'm going to start running, I guess, if I'm going to be doing longer races. Stamina is really important.
Yeah, and those endurance races, do you find that it's difficult to do long stints for you right now?
I don't know, like we did, like I think I'm probably good up an hour and a half to 2 hours. Because we did like hour-long sessions because we were like switching drivers and pulling data and reviewing, kind of like it was a learning race weekend for us, not really focused on placing or anything. So, but every time I went off, I was like, I'm good. Like, I want to stay in, please.
Do you have any sort of rituals or anything that you do before you go out to race?
I think like the main thing I do when going into a race is I like talk to my coach. We go over like what I've previously been working on that track and kind of like set 3 goals for that race, whether it's based on certain corners or placement or anything like that. And then I also try to spend like 5 to 10 minutes with my eyes closed, like driving the track in my head.
That's interesting. I've never heard that. Have you heard that before, Sam?
Oh yeah, I do the same thing. Visualize it. Have you ever gone so far as you pretend you're holding the wheel and go through the corners?
Oh, I'll be in the car, I'll pretend to shift, I'll be making like noises.
Yeah.
Fun, that's cool. I mean, I guess I can see how it's handy, especially if you're kind of trying to zone in, you know?
Yeah, like remember how Kenny said, Jess, if you can get in the state of empty mind before a race, not build into it, that's huge. And I find when you sit there strapped in, if you focus just on your track, on your line, you can do that. You can get in that empty mind state. Okay, if you could race in any motorsport era, what would it be, and what would the car or series be?
Okay, so my perspective on this is that as a female, the era I'm racing in is a great era to be racing in. I think a lot of women have paved the way to make it easier. And I don't think I would want to deal with as much of the crap as they did. So I'm happy with this era.
So describe your relationship with TWOth Autosport, because I know they've been integral in getting your career off the grounds and helping you out. So what's some stuff at the track they do that you couldn't race without?
Everything. I from like the very first day I went on track to now I was with TWOth. They're like elemental in every single part of a race weekend or practice session for me, from coaching to car prep to support to feeding me to everything.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. Like with TWOth, it's such a camaraderie. I mean, you guys are really like a big family. We recently posted on our Instagram stories that you were one of our next drivers up for announcement. We had some fan questions roll in. So a few good ones, a few we won't actually ask you, but so top speed that you've hit.
228 in the Audi.
What's your ultimate racing dream?
To do it as a career.
So what's kind of like the highest that you think you want to reach? Would that be Porsche, like you mentioned before?
Yeah, I don't really know. I think like for me personally, I'm just right now trying like kind of at the beginning and just like leaving all the doors open. I'd love to do some IMSA. That's like my TCA, TCR, some IMSA. I haven't like mapped out past that yet.
Would you ever want to travel overseas to go do some driving in Europe?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Do you got any tracks over there that
we talked, like we're talking about potentially doing an enduro at Spa, which I think would be awesome. I've done some sim stuff at Silverstone. I think that'd be cool too.
What are you most excited about for the 2023 season?
Well, I think I've never been in a position in a class on a platform that is like the balance of performance is so similar to the other cars that I have the chance to actually be competitive and compete on the same platform. So for me, that's like a huge step. And I'm really excited for that. And I just want to like podium. That's like, well, I want to finish every race, gain points, and hopefully place well overall in the series.
Who is your favorite professional driver?
I don't know, but I definitely have a soft spot for Daniel Ricciardo.
Me too. I was actually watching Drive to Survive last night and I was like, oh, he's my favorite.
Right.
So sad he's not back this year.
I know.
Is it a personality thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's not just the accent, right?
No.
How about his driving? Like he's a pretty good driver too.
Okay, Sam. I sense some jealousy.
No, he's my favorite driver too. But like 5 years ago, what he was doing on track was why I loved him. He was the best overtaker that the sport had for a while.
you're going into a race weekend, you have to race 3 races. What's on your mind? What's your mindset?
Don't forget anything, because I usually forget everything. Like, do you have your helmet? Do you have your gloves?
Now we're going to jump into the hot lap section. So this is kind of rapid fire Q&A. Some answers we might dive into a bit more if you want, feel free. So first one, do you prefer wet or dry races?
Depends on the racetrack, but I honestly kind of like wet races.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my favorite answer.
Sometimes I hope for rain. Sometimes me and Joel, one of the other guys on my team, actually hope for rain because we know we'll do better.
Okay, I have questions about this. Which tracks do you not hope for rain, and which ones do you hope for rain?
Like Calabugie, I definitely like rain. Mossport, I'm not too picky, but I like it better when it's dry just because of that corner 8.
Would you say that that's because it kind of like evens the playing field a little bit more, in your opinion?
Like, yeah, I found whenever I was in a car that was lower horsepower, as soon as it was wet, I would be at an advantage. And I'd be able to almost progress further than everybody else. So
Do you prefer standing starts or rolling starts?
I'm definitely gonna go with rolling starts. After my season in a 50 car standing start at SPC last year, I'm so excited to be doing rolling starts.
Did you ever have any chaotic moments, like someone in front of you didn't go at all? They just
Yeah, I had someone in front of me not go, so then I ended up stalling because I slammed on the brakes, and then I've also been like bumped from behind. But it was like people were driving on the grass, like it was full chaos.
So what is most important to you, corner entry, apex, or exit?
Like, I don't know, it depends on what's coming next on the track. If it's straight, then I'm definitely focused on exit, but overall, you should kind of always be trying to hit your apexes. And if I'm like, a big thing that I'm working on right now is working on my entry speed to continuously, like, some of the like, if I wasn't getting enough rotation in the car, it was okay, focus on your entry speed so then you can do the weight transfer right at the corner and get that rotation you need.
What would you say have been some of the challenges that you've had to overcome as you're learning?
For me, myself learning, one of my favorite things to do is go over data and compare that to either my fastest lap or one of the more experienced drivers on my team's fastest laps, and figure out where those gaps are, whether it's in brake pressure, whether it's in throttle application, like all around, whether it's looking at how my wheel is turned compared to theirs in the corner entry.
That's really interesting to me because like a lot of new drivers, that's their least favorite part is learning the data. They just want to drive. They don't want to look at graphs.
No, I like it.
Piggybacking off that, how are you with the other side to that, which is setup? Like, can you use what you learn from the data and what you feel in the car and communicate to your engineers, to your team, like changes you might want? Or are you still working on that?
I think like that's definitely one of the major things that I have to work on. I have like basic knowledge of setup, but I'm actually planning to go through my whole kind of car setup with my tech. And then unfortunately last weekend at Barber, one of the TCRs, the DSGs, which is what got crashed. So we bought that for parts, and my cousin's gonna rebuild it. So I'm gonna go spend all the time with them at the garage while they rebuild it and really get to know the car.
Bucket list track to drive.
I guess not bucket list, but 2 that I wanted to do, which would be Spa and Silverstone.
Bucket list event to attend as a fan.
Formula One Monaco.
Favorite Mario Kart character to play?
I obviously am gonna choose Princess Peach, and my power is definitely the bullet.
Yeah, that's what you'd be using in real life?
Yeah, or bananas, so I can flip somebody up. But I think first choice is the bullet.
Who would you say is your most influential person in your life?
Definitely my dad. I kind of got into racing because of him. He supports it, and now we're racing in the same series this year and hopefully in the same class next year.
So as I mentioned before, this is International Women's Day, which is so suiting. You are driver number 2, who is a female to race with us in the Sports Car Championship this year, which I'm super excited about, of course. But being in this industry, which is very clearly a male dominated industry, I can definitely say that there's been a couple little things that I've experienced that I've had to overcome being a woman. I was just wondering if you've had experienced any adversity since you started racing.
Yeah, I think there's a preconceived notion that one, you can't be as fast as guys and you cannot do as much as guys can do. And that preconceived notion also comes with you being at fault if there is any incidents on track prior to even reviewing video. And then the notion that maybe you don't have as much confidence as men and can't perform as high as them. I don't really know. There's always just the, like, do you really think you should be here doing this? And it's like, yes, I do. Like, why are you even asking me that? And then, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I wasn't even sure, honestly, if I was going to ask this question. And not that I don't think it's important, because I absolutely do. But sometimes I feel like, it can come across as disingenuous, when we're talking about women in motorsports. But I mean, like I said, me being the manager of the series, I definitely have come to, run into different circumstances where I've experienced the same things that you're talking about. And I really didn't think that at this point in time that you would have experienced just some of those things that you just mentioned. I mean, I can totally understand how somebody on track would automatically accuse you and, like accusing you without looking at data and whatnot. I mean, I think there is a stereotype around women drivers.
It's like, oh, if I push her, she's going to mess up. But I don't think that that's the situation. And I think also it's only specific people. Like the overall general experience is not that. Like, of course, there'll be a few incidents. Even with the male, he might have incidents with people who he like don't think he should be there or anything, like where ego comes to play. But I think like generally like things have changed a lot and it's a lot more inclusive area.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And that's why I think I was like, hesitant about asking, because it obviously doesn't happen every single day. And I know it's probably not something that you experience every single day, but I was just curious if, you had experienced it, because I do think that we've come a long way in society and, our culture as Canadians, to be more inclusive. But, like I said, male dominated world. So I was just very curious about what it's like to be a female driver, on track with only men.
The idea that girls can't be as fast as guys is such horse just because, like, I get if it's the NFL, we might have a problem there.
Yeah.
But with racing, it's so mental, and it also is as much as the car as it is you and what you can do with it.
Yeah, there's no physical attributes that are different between a man and a woman when it comes to driving a car. Where do you think you've seen the most growth in racing so far from when you started until now?
I think from last year until now, I think doing regional races is one thing. Running a series is something completely different. And just like the headset I was in, the mindset, creating that mental strength, really focusing on like not just getting out there and having fun, pushing it as hard as I can, but incrementally building and being consistent and all that. Yeah.
And what do you think has been the most challenging thing from when you started until now?
Can I say the early mornings?
I'm with you there.
I think it's like putting yourself in that calm mental state before races, and all of that is definitely something that's a challenge. Usually I'm like, okay, I need 6 coffees to start my day. And now I like last season I limited myself to 1 coffee for race days.
Do you think that's just because like you're jittery in the car?
Oh, I'll start getting like shaky.
What are your goals for this year?
I don't know. I really hope I can place within the top 3 of the TCA class. That is definitely one of my goals. I want to just run, honestly, like a super clean, consistent season.
I like that a lot. Pretty much every driver so far has said that, because I would like a really clean, consistent season too.
Yeah.
Are you planning on using social media to promote racing this year?
Yeah, I don't know if I in my day-to-day job, I'm doing social media. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to then be doing that on the weekend. And I don't really want to be on my phone or taking photos or anything. I just kind of want to be in the moment. I think it's definitely super hard to grow your social media. That's one of the big things that I'm working on. I guess it's all about being consistent and having that content. But right now I don't have content that I can just continuously be putting out. I'm making sure what you're putting out is valuable and relatable.
Describe your proudest moment in racing so far.
I raced my dad in Miatas and I beat him. That's definitely a proud moment.
Do you have any advice that you can give to any young drivers who kind of have are taking the same path that you did, passionate about racing, but starting maybe a little bit later than average and, just wanting to get their foot in the door?
I think it's never too late. Just go for it. I think networking and connections are your biggest asset. And if you reach out to people, they're always willing to help and bring you in. Any team, the teams I know, a lot are very looking for drivers and happy to bring people in for track days and want to get more people involved. So just reach out and you never know where it can go from there.
Anything you got going on in your life, anyone specific you want to thank or shout out?
I guess I'd like to shout out TWOth and the Ottawa Sports Car Club, who I'm on the board with. Yeah, thank you guys. Support on both sides, especially from the TWOth team, and I'm learning a lot from Ottawa Sports Car Club and just happy to be involved. They're doing great things to build a driver community in Ottawa.
And where can people follow you online?
You can follow me online at Motorsports Megan on Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Facebook too.
Everybody give Megan a follow and good luck this season in the TCA class. We'll be rooting for you.
Still going bad on you anyway. Whoa, 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 whoa. I can feel like 80 rats in my Marys. Me and Drizzy back to back is getting